Menedez, The Day of the Lord is a brand new Netflix original exorcism movie. Now, I will say up front that my two least favorite subgenres of horror would be vampires, followed very closely by exorcism films, typically because I find them to be very redundant. They fucking feel like the same film most of the time. And when some come around that kind of break the mold, do something different, and appeal a little bit more to me, I'm usually more than pleased. So now this one I went into completely blind. It was just dropped on Netflix this week and was like, all right, perfect. Let's throw it on. Let's see what we got. Now this one is in Espanol. So you will have to read subtitles. Some of you don't want to do that. But this movie is about a priest, Menendez, and he is asked by a guy, a friend of his, to take a look at his daughter. He thinks that she is possessed by a demon, and Menendez, of course, doesn't want to do this. He's like, no, like, I can't do this again, this and that. He has a bad history with this. And so he brings him in, and then the movie basically plays out like, is this happening? Is it not? And, it took a direction. So now, okay, first things first. I did actually quite like this one. For an exorcism movie, this was one of the better ones for me. It is fairly silly in moments. There's some, like, real quick shots of people kind of preparing. There's there's a couple things I was thinking about while watching this. One of those being the line from Peter Jackson's Brain Dead, like, I kick ass for the Lord. This film is not comedic, but there is some unintentional humor, or maybe intentional humor. I'm not really sure what they're going for. There's like scenes where the guy's like putting on taping his hands to like to do something, and the way he like kind of comes at the camera with him and stuff, it almost looks like a fight movie. And I was like, that was kind of an odd cut in the like what he says and the way that the music swells and then it cuts. I don't know, it was a little eye roll inducing, but the rest of the movie's pretty straightforward. There is a couple lines where I think people might find it, as I said, unintentionally funny. One in particular reminds me of a little bit of The Exorcist with let Jesus fuck you. We'll just say that. And that line kind of had me laughing. It also kind of reminded me of The Last Exorcism when Nell says, I'll give you a blowing job or whatever. But anyway, I don't want to get into it. But I thought that scene was kind of funny, but also really fucked up. I can't get into what that is. Obviously, we're doing spoilers free here. But the film was going in a way that I thought I had figured it out. And when it changed directions, I was upset for like a minute. But then it kind of sold it to me that they went this way with it. So I thought I was going one way, which I was really excited about because I don't feel like it's a way enough exorcism movies go. I just like to see one explore this avenue. I'm sorry for being vague, but we have to for spoiler-free territory. But the change that it made and the kind of the swerve that it made was more of the obvious one, the one that we always see, and I was a little bummed. But then the rest of the film played out pretty well. I thought the performances from everyone was really good, especially the girl who was possessed. I thought she was great. Is she possessed or is she not possessed? Sorry. That is a question you're going to be asking yourself throughout. But the girl who we think might be possessed, the girl who we think might not, you know what I mean. That I don't know how else to say it because I don't remember her fucking name. But she, I think, gives a really fun performance in this. And also a very good dramatic performance. And when she comes in, she's being like a typical teenage girl, although there's no way this girl's a teenager. This girl's got to be in her 20s at least. She's fucking very attractive. But I do think that her performance is really solid and sells the film very well. And I definitely don't. I definitely could not allow what happens in this movie to happen to my daughter. I would not be asking anybody. Although I've never thought my kid was possessed by a demon or the devil, so I don't know if I can really speak on that matter. But regardless, just watching it, being like, yeah, I don't think I could, I don't think I could do that. So I'd be bowing out of that. But yeah, for an exorcism movie, I quite enjoyed this. I know The Cleansing Hour recently came out on Shudder, and a bunch of people liked it. I actually didn't care for that one that much, and I actually liked this one considerably more. So this is the better of the two exorcism movies that came out in October of 2020 for me personally. I think it's worth a watch. If you're into exorcism movies, I think this is a pretty fun one. And the lead guy here that plays Menendez, I think he's really good. I think the dad of the girl in this is really good. And those are our three main characters, which we spend the lion's share of the time with. There's almost no other characters within the film. And there's something that happens at the ending that I thought was really interesting and was unexpected. And I was like, okay, that looked pretty interesting, pretty cool. So, all right, I'm done being vague, but all I have to say is if you're an Exorcism fan and you don't mind subtitles, I definitely think this is worth checking out. I think it's a fun Netflix original Spanish exorcism movie. So, anyways, I gotta get to bed. 3:17 in the morning. Good night.